Hello everybody, this is Cayenne. I just wanted to show you today a little baby Aglaonema that I had. For a couple of weeks it was looking okay, but then the leaves were droopy, I started to see some damage, and I decided to inspect it. Usually it's not even noticeable, but there are some indications that the plant is not going well. I decided to go and zoom in a little bit with a magnifying glass, and I discovered a lot of baby scales. You can bring scales from the outside, you can bring scales if you are reusing infected soil, or even whenever the plant or the soil has been spending the summer months outside, gets infected then, gets brought back inside, and the soil is now ready with the conditions of the house to infect the plant. And what that does is that it will suck the life out of the plant, literally, very slowly with some damage, but it will eventually get it very weak. So you have to get rid of any indication or presence of scales, absolutely. What I use usually when there's not a lot is a cotton swab dipped in isopropyl alcohol, then I spot clean. There are also other methods that are a little bit more aggressive, which is spraying with an insecticide and then washing gently, going over the leaf with a cloth to remove any bugs. It is important to see if the bugs are over, or sometimes they can be under the leaf, so it's really important to just check every part of the plant. Some people prefer to give their plants a little bit of a shower, but for the scales you're gonna need a little bit of friction, a little bit of rubbing to get some of them out, especially the larger ones that seem to really stick to the plant. As you can see, the scales can be 1 millimeters to 2, sometimes 3 millimeters. When they are a little bit more mature, they appear to be sometimes translucent, beige, brown, sometimes even orange. What is important here is that you just get rid of all of it. Please understand that it's going to take more than one time. Sometimes you're going to have to come back a couple of days after just to see if there are some things that you did miss, because it does happen. Scale is not one thing. Scale is an infestation. Stay on top of it and don't give up. Or if it's too much for you, it is also okay to let go of the plant. All right, so now we're going to see another example of scale, but on another plant, which is the Philodendron Maoyi. I started to see a lot of damage around the plant that I could not necessarily attribute to the scale, but when I started to inspect the leaves a little bit, you're going to see that there are some specific brown spots over and under the leaves as well. So for this plant, I decided to see if I could manually take out some of the scales, but with a little bit of rubbing, you can see that it is easily removable. I can show you also a version of the bug that is very clear, very, very, very big compared to the other specimens that I saw so far. And yeah, this is one of the reasons why a shower is not going to be necessarily enough for some scales. It really sticks to the plant. Throughout the video, you can also see the discoloration of the leaves, the different type of damage. Whenever you get to know how a specific healthy plant looks like, you can also know how a more sick or sickly or damaged plant might look like. Some plants do have discoloration naturally. Some plants do have some scars on the plants, and that is absolutely normal. but oftentimes you can see that there are some irregularities, and it is your responsibility as a garden grower to give the most optimal conditions for your plant to thrive. So I did try to rub this off with a cotton swab dipped in alcohol. It stuck there. It stayed there. Just keep on sucking the life out of my poor plant. So I decided to use some tweezers, some very fine pincers. When I was pretty much done with the whole patience and monk thing, I decided to take a cloth, spray the cloth with some bug spray, and then gently rubbed over and under the leaves of the plant, all over, for every plant, for every leaf. And for the big specimen, that was still very fascinating, so from time to time I stopped and tried to plug them out. But for a whole leaf infestation, I just decided to wipe the whole leaf down and trying to catch any bits, any little part of the leaf that might have been overlooked. Then when I was done with the whole thing, I went ahead and sprayed the whole plant again with my bug spray. I also did spray a little bit the soil just in case, and I knew I was going to check it out again in a couple of weeks. Otherwise the infestation might come back, because yes, there's a lot of work that I did and it's gonna flourish, but if I don't check it again in a couple of weeks, there's a high probability that it might come back. With the amount of scales that I found on this very plant, that's how I can talk about maybe a comeback of some scales. So I have to check it. Usually, whenever there's a lot of infestation, a lot of people decide to just throw the plant away. It's fine, but I also know that there are some people who receive the plant for sentimental reasons, and they would try to save the plant as much as possible. So this is why I'm doing this video. And also for the people who don't know what are scales and how I can find it and how to treat it, because treating and having and growing plants inside or outside is also knowing its ailments and bugs and problems and being able to solve it. So that's my video, you guys. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.